The undefeated Oklahoma Sooners baseball squad is hitting the road for a top 25 matchup against the Dallas Baptist Patriots at Horner Ballpark. Can OU keep their hot streak and undefeated season alive against this DBU squad that's had their number quite often lately? We'll break it all down, stats, stars, storylines, and so much more here on the Sooner Spotlight. Sooner Nation, welcome into another episode of Sooner Spotlight, your all-access pass for all things Oklahoma Sooners athletics. I'm your host, Josh Mahler. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at RealJoshMahler. Go follow the show on Instagram, at Sooner Spotlight, for all updates on the show. We want to thank you so much for tuning in, and reminder that Sooner Spotlight is a member of the OU Insider content lineup. To keep up with more Sooner sports, go over to OUinsider.com today to become a member of the greatest Oklahoma sports overall community out there. We keep you up to date on all things Sooner sports, as well as giving fans a platform to let your voice be heard. So we're not just talking at you, we're talking with you. And, it's truly amazing. Go over to OU Insider today, get signed up, and, you can take my word for it, but it's so much better if you just go get signed up for yourself. You can access for free. Otherwise, you pay to really join more and get more full access to the inside scoop and so much more over at OU Insider. So again, stop missing out on all the inside scoop and get signed up with OU Insider today. Of course, get started with this episode by hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button, and then hit the notification bell if you want to know when we have new content out there for you regarding the Oklahoma Sooners. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify now, so if you would, just take a quick moment, go over and subscribe, follow the podcast over there, and give us a 5-star review. That's the best way to help us on those platforms. And you can check out our merch store at Soonerspotlight.com. But let's go ahead and get into it as the undefeated Sooners hitting the road. And, we've got a lot to talk about when we talk about this squad, this baseball squad, who has been absolutely amazing. It's going to be a top 25 matchup. If you look at D1 baseball, and they've got DBU ranked in the top 25. So this is going to be a really fun one. It's going to have quite a bit going into this game. And of course, if you're an Oklahoma football fan, you're not familiar with baseball, and you don't know some of these teams that might be considered here in baseball as good teams. DBU is one of those good teams, that a team that you don't know anything about. But in the world of baseball, this is a very good team, and a team that the Oklahoma Sooners have to watch out for. Of course, this being one of the biggest matchups of the season. Of course, they were able to take down ranked number 7 at the time, Oregon State, ranked number 2 at the time, Virginia, earlier on in the season at the Round Rock Classic. Great start to their season there. But then now the Sooners, coming into this one, this is going to be their first road test, their first true road test. They've been on the road, gone to these different away venues and these different series away from Oklahoma. But, it's been a very good season for the Oklahoma Sooners, starting off 11-0. And on top of that, so it's the first time that they've been 11-0 since 2011, if memory serves me correctly, and a great start to the 2025 season. But the Sooners haven't allowed more than 4 runs in a single game this season. It's been insane consistency from this Oklahoma squad so far, and it's been a team that has been resilient through close games. They've been able to blow teams out of the water at times, and it's just been a very good all-around performance by this team all season long so far. All 11 games have been great. I mean, I don't have really any criticisms towards the Sooners. Of course, they've had a couple of errors here and there, but so far this season, it has been a squad that has been unstoppable and extremely consistent. I think the backbone of this team has been the pitching, and we're going to talk about the pitching staff a little bit more going into it, but this pitching staff has been so deep, and it's not top heavy at all. It starts off at the top very strong, and I don't want to jump ahead of myself and talk about the pitchers just yet, but it's been a pitching staff that has strength at the top and then depth in the back end. And that's exactly what you need for a team to make it to Omaha. And of course, that's the end goal. And if don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, we've got quite a few games left in a very tough conference. But the Oklahoma Sooners have shown that they could be a team that is worthy to be there when it comes down to it at the end of the season. So we'll have to see, and we'll have to stay tuned with them. But of course, going back, recapping this past weekend, Oklahoma able to take down CSUN and sweeping them, a clean sweep throughout the weekend against Cal State. And I don't have the scores written down in front of me, so apologies if I get this right, but I believe that they defeated them in the first game 9-0. Great performance there, especially on the defense, holding them out, the pitching staff being able to do what they did. Kyson Witherspoon started that game, had a great game there. But then the second game, 10-2, if memory serves me correctly, and then what was that last one? 3-4. It was a one point game, if I remember correctly, and so a very close game, and it came down to the last inning, and it came down to great pitching, closed out, and just an amazing overall performance, again showcasing the Oklahoma Sooners' resilience. They were able to show that resilience again, backing up in the season against Minnesota when it was a tight game through and through, very tight game. And then going forward in that same Round Rock Classic against Virginia, having to go 12 innings, if I remember correctly. So this has been a team that, yes, they can defeat teams by double digits, and they can come out here and win big time. They can beat CSUN by 9 points. But this has also been a team that when it comes down to it, and you've got to fight for those last few innings and fight to stay alive, to fight to keep this undefeated streak going, this is also a team that has shown that they can do that as well. And so it's been very impressive, to say the least, for this Oklahoma Sooners squad, this baseball squad that has been just dominant in every facet of the game, especially that pitching being the backbone of this team. And I'm going to reiterate that a lot throughout the season, because I think this is a pitching staff that can bring this team very far. Been very outstanding, of course, pitching dominance, but then also offensive firepower, the ability to score a lot. And, especially when you come down, what we've seen from the Oklahoma Sooners, especially these games where you're going against very good opponents, is that the middle innings is really where they take form. They start off slow, they gain some traction in the middle innings, and just close it out and do what they've got to do to win the game. And that's what you've seen from them a lot so far. Offensive firepower, it's there. They're capable of doing it. And we'll talk more about that, of course, as the season goes on and as we get into recapping or previewing this game. But again, like I said, this is the first true road test for the Oklahoma Sooners this season, which means a lot. You go on the road to a team that's very good, a team that's had your number lately, a team that you've struggled against. And you can go there and you can spark something with this team. With this Oklahoma squad, winning this game is very big. You getting your first road win, it's always big in any sport. And for any team, it's big to get that first road win, get that out of the way early, and especially before you get to SEC play, where you're going to be going on the road to SEC environments where the SEC is dominant. I believe 12 ranked teams in the top 25 according to D1 baseball. So it's a very, very dominant conference overall. So we've got to be careful and worry about that going forward. Hey, how is this team going to perform? And I'm not worried about it because of how they performed so far. And it's really a chance to prove Oklahoma's success. It's a chance to prove that this isn't just a fluke season. It's not just a season where Oklahoma has squeezed by some good teams and beat some bad teams. This is a way for us to really cement the fact that Oklahoma can go on the road in a top 25 matchup and win against a very good team. And it's not at home, so you're not playing with home field advantage, anything like that. So I think this game it's very big for that purpose. And talking about DBU, again, of course, if you're a basketball fan or a football fan, you don't know who DBU is. Dallas Baptist, a very good baseball team, a team that has had Oklahoma's number in the past, and they come into this game 8-3 with a 6-0 mark at Horner Ballpark. They haven't lost at home yet, which again says a lot about this game because this is a game that the Oklahoma Sooners are going to Horner Ballpark. They're going to have to go and face them in their home stadium that they've been undefeated so far. And they're fresh off a series win over Oral Roberts, again, another good baseball squad, a good baseball team, where they went 2-1, won the series, and performed very well. Looking at their key players, Jay Grant, a guy that's a total slugger, has 6 home runs on the season so far, and he's one of those guys with just a powerful bat. He's had 17 RBIs on the season, just very, very good. He's a guy that Oklahoma should be worried about But I think the fact that we've got such a strong pitching staff eases our mind just a little bit going into this game. So look out for Jay Grant. I think he's one guy. And DBU's pitching staff, of course, no joke. I'm not sure who's going to be starting for DBU. I haven't really looked too far into their staff to see who might be the front runner, who might be their ace. But regardless, they've shown that their pitching staff can be very dominant at times. They've got a very similar pitching staff to Oklahoma, where I think they've got a deep chart. I think Oklahoma's just stronger in the front end of that pitching staff, where you've got a couple of guys in Kyson Witherspoon and even Malachi Witherspoon, which we'll talk about both of those guys in just a moment. But, we've got a staff that we can rely on. Really, the top 4 or 5 guys, all very good, and we could rely on them. And, of course, Dylan Crook's able to come in there and save the game for us against a few other opponents as well. So, OU definitely has the stronger pitching staff, but I think DBU's pitching staff very similar in the sense that they can go very deep. I would not be surprised at all to see 4 or 5 pitchers come out against Oklahoma. DBU ultimately leads this series between Oklahoma and Dallas Baptist. They lead it 18-13 and has won 4 of the last 5 matchups between the Oklahoma Sooners and Dallas Baptist, including a 6-0 shutout last season in Norman. So this is a squad, again, they've been a thorn on our side, a team that has absolutely been able to get the best out of Oklahoma, but still be able to best them at it. And so even when Oklahoma's been good, DBU has been there. It's not just a game, it's a chance for OU to really flip the script in a team that has been that thorn in their side these past few seasons, and again, leading 18-13 in that series overall. Going on to Oklahoma and the Oklahoma standouts, I think it's important to first start off with this amazing pitching staff, and starting off with the twin aces who have absolutely been killing it, starting off with Kyson Witherspoon and his brother Malachi Witherspoon. These two guys, Kyson with a 1.5 ERA and Malachi at a 1.88 ERA. And I'm not sure who's going to be getting the ball more, who's going to be getting more pitching. I would assume Kyson Witherspoon is probably going to come in there for at least 6 innings, 5 or 6 innings, to get this team started off in the right direction, get them to where they're looking good in those first 5 innings, first half of the game. You want to really come out strong and look dominant. Keep those bats quiet for DBU, and I think that's very important. Of course, over on offense, I feel like you could really throw a lot of guys out there, but I think the one to really throw out is Kyle Branch, the freshman second baseman who has been phenomenal all season long. Kyle Branch has been able to do it all. He's been able to, first starting off, getting an inside the park home run on, I believe, his first at bat for Oklahoma, at least his first score. He's been electric all season long. He's been the guy to go to on offense. He's been the guy to really help us out when we're in a slump, and he's been that guy. And again, as young as he is, as a freshman, coming in here and playing as good as he is, and even on defense, being able to do his job as well, chasing down balls 150 feet away from him, and being able to get fly outs, being able to sidearm a throw while diving out for it. Just some phenomenal plays so far from Kyle Branch. He's been the offensive standout. And I think you've even got other guys like Jason Walk, who this past weekend had a really big game against CSUN. But I think you've got a guy like Jason Walk, and even Easton Carmichael had a really good game this past weekend as well. He's really had a good season all season long at bat. These guys have all been able to find ways to get on base. They've been finding ways and being very patient at that, getting walked plenty of times so far this season. So it's been a great offensive firepower. I want to go back to Kyson Witherspoon real quick and talk about him and his performance. He's played 18 full innings, and really been great. He started off 5 innings against Lehigh. He played 7 innings against Minnesota and 6 against CSUN. He's only allowed 10 hits in 18 innings. That's absolutely incredible. 4 total runs allowed, and he's had 28 strikeouts, including a 12 strikeout game against Minnesota, again, where he only played 7 of those innings. So, he's been on fire. He's had an amazing season so far, and he's carrying this team when he's out there. When he's out there, he's able to really show. I mean, we know that we've got a pitcher that can step in, an ace that can step in and get it done for us when we've got Kyson Witherspoon at the mound. So it's great as an Oklahoma Sooners fan seeing this team. And going back to Jay Grant for DBU, if he gets a pitch to hit, it's going yard. I mean, this is a guy that's just got such power, such precision, and he's going to hit one yard if he gets a hold of one. So if we're able to get Kyson Witherspoon in there, make sure that he doesn't touch that ball, and hope that he doesn't bring in any RBIs in the process, then I think we're looking really good with a guy like Kyson Witherspoon. Of course, even going all the way down, we've had Cam Johnson step in there this past weekend and show how great he's been. And we've had others step in that have just been great. We've had a great pitching staff overall. And for Oklahoma, really, it's about staying disciplined at the plate, and especially against a tough pitching staff like what we're going to see out of DBU. I think this is very important in this game. Just don't make mistakes early, and you've got to be able to keep yourself in check. And so I think that's very important. For DBU, it's really about containing Oklahoma's speed on the bases. We've got guys that like to try to steal, even though I feel like our stealing percentage is not there. We've got guys that can steal. We've got guys like Jason Walk and others that you've got to watch their speed. But it's not just stealing. It's the fact that once you get a hit, how many times these guys have gotten doubles, triples, inside the park home runs. You've seen it all from this Oklahoma staff or this Oklahoma team when they're at bat. And so it's very crucial for DBU to keep Oklahoma in check when they're on the bases, because you give them just a little bit of space and you might be able to get one, but that sacrifice ends up getting a guy to third and into scoring position, or maybe he's at second and you go to first and stop him there, but then you're not able to get home in time to stop the RBI. There's been times where you've seen that from this Oklahoma, these Oklahoma batters, plenty of times when they're on the bags. So it's about keeping them in check. And Oklahoma, of course, utilizing your strength, getting yourself on base. That's the most important, and making sure that you don't get yourself stranded. We've seen that a lot from the Oklahoma Sooners as well. So it's a mix of a lot of things, I suppose. But this is a big time matchup for both these teams. Of course, OU's pitching against DBU's power at bat. Can the Witherspoons between Kyson and Malachi keep Grant and company all in check over there at DBU? And for Oklahoma's offense, just, again, jump on those mistakes early. Because what we've seen from Oklahoma was whenever they're able to jump on those mistakes and see the mistakes from the other team, it's been proven that Oklahoma is able to get themselves out ahead and get that early kickstart. Once you're able to start to find those mistakes, that's where Oklahoma really excels and starts to get out of there. They start to shake up that pitcher. They start to shake up the guys throwing around the pitcher. And so that's very crucial for Oklahoma in this game. Get out to a fast start, and that's what they've done well at so far this season. Of course, I think what's at stake in this game is Oklahoma moving forward into the series against Sam Houston series this weekend. And then, of course, a statement win, again, yet another statement win, heading into the SEC for your first season. So, even if this is non-conference, recognizing that these non-conference wins shows how dominant you can be outside of the conference and moving into the SEC. Of course, you got to prove yourself in the SEC, but being able to prove yourself outside of the SEC and into non-conference games, being able to beat good teams like this, that's very important for Oklahoma. That's very important moving into the SEC. So very excited to see everything about that. I know Sooner fans are fired up on X and social media all over, and they're fired up for this baseball team. So, of course, you can always tweet at me or post at me, tag me, however you want to word that. I'm not sure how you're supposed to say that anymore since it's not Twitter, but you can tag me at @RealJoshMahler with your score predictions. I'm going to predict this one to be a close one. I'm going to pick Oklahoma 5, DBU 3. The Oklahoma Sooners pitching edges it out, keeps DBU quiet, and a late rally to put Oklahoma ahead. That's what we've seen from the Sooners so far. If they're able to dominate, I think that'd be great, but I think it means more to win in these close matchups against good teams. I think that means more going forward to keep you humble, but then also just to show that resilience that this team has, and prove to yourself that just because you get behind on the scoreboard doesn't mean that you're out of this thing. Just because you get behind on the scoreboard doesn't mean you start to give up. And I think that's very crucial for the Oklahoma Sooners when they're going against good teams like DBU, and we've seen that so far throughout this season. But it's going to be a one to watch. If you're an Oklahoma Sooners fan, you need to get behind this baseball team because this baseball team is great. This is a team that has a chance this year to make it very far. A couple of years ago when we saw them make it to Omaha and make it all the way to the finals, that's the kind of feel that I get from this team, but I feel better about this pitching staff than I did about that team. Skip Johnson has a great team. We need to show up, show out, get loud for your Oklahoma Sooners. Tune in tonight at 6:05 p.m. I believe it is a 6 o'clock game at Horner Ballpark. You can stream it on ESPN Plus. It's a top 25 showdown that you don't want to miss. We'll be back after the game to break it all down. Win or lose, we've got you covered. Hey Sooner fans, did you enjoy this video? Well, go ahead and hit that like button and go ahead and hit that subscribe button. What are you doing if you've made it this far and haven't already? You should be able to find that subscribe button over here. And then if you want to see full episodes, we've got those up here and clips right down here. So go check that out. But we thank you all so much for all the love, all the support. We'll catch you next time. Boomer.